Is art developmentally important? How does it help children grow and develop? Let's talk about that. Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about art and why it's important to children's learning and development. So when I talk about art, first of all, it's important to know that I don't just mean doing a painting or doing a drawing or doing a colouring. I'm talking about the process of creating things. So we could be talking about using Play-Doh, perhaps we are making construction using boxes or something like that, or obviously painting, drawing, colouring in, that sort of thing. When it comes down to painting, there are so many different ideas behind what you can do with painting. So obviously you can get an easel, get some poster paints, get a piece of paper, and away you go. But you can also use watercolours. They're usually lovely and easy because you can set them up on the coffee table or dining room table. They wash off nice and easily. There are so many different really fun variations on painting as well. I have done painting using tea bags before. I have done painting using poster paints in shaving cream in a tray, and you put the paper on top. So there's a variety of different things that you can do if you're just talking about painting in general. But like I said, art is not just talking about painting, so all the different variations of art that you can think of. Like we said, drawing, colouring in, the various different types of painting, using leaves and other things like that to do printing using paints. All of these things are really, really great for children's development and learning. But why is that? Well, just like we've talked about in the past with play, artistic activities help children to develop their problem-solving skills, their confidence, their creativity, their ability to express themselves, their curiosity, their cooperation with each other and with you, their imagination, their persistence. All of these things are higher order thinking that are really, really important for children to learn and develop, that aren't something that you can just stand in front of a child and give to them. You need to offer them opportunities to do activities that help to develop those skills. And that is what art activities can help you to do, because they use both sides of the brain. So they are crossing those two areas, which means that they're helping those higher order thinking skills to really get cemented in the brain. Early childhood educators in Australia use the Early Years Learning Framework to develop their learning sequences and lesson plans. I will link the ELF in the description below if you want to go and have a look at that. Feel free, obviously, to do so. But the reason I bring it up is because there are 5 sort of main areas that the curriculum addresses, and across all 5 you can find activities that are art-based that will help develop those various different principles. So the first of these is children have a strong sense of identity. They learn to interact in relation to others with care, empathy and respect, and they develop knowledgeable and confident self-identities. So art is really important for this because, like we said, it gives them the opportunity to explore, to make things up, to really use their imagination and their creativity to create new things, to experiment with new ways of doing things. It helps them to communicate what they want and what they need and what they're thinking with others around them. You can organise collaborative artworks, and that is very common in early years settings where educators put together programs where children can do collaborative work, whether it be that they have their own piece of paper and they do the art but it's at a table, or whether it be that they all work together to do an artwork. And this involves a lot of chatting, a lot of communicating with each other, sharing of materials, explaining what they're doing, talking about their ideas and their plans. So it helps them to build that understanding of what other people are trying to express, as well as developing their ability to talk about what they are trying to express. So it's really important for that. The next outcome in the Early Years Learning Framework is Children are connected with and contribute to their world. Children develop a sense of belonging to groups and communities and an understanding of the reciprocal rights and responsibilities necessary for active community participation. Children respond to diversity with respect. Children become aware of fairness, and children become socially responsible and show respect for the environment. So art can help children to explore all of these things, whether it be that you are doing artwork using recycled materials, using things that encourage them to think about the environment, to think about helping the environment. They can also explore different kinds of artwork. So it's not just that they might make artwork, but they can explore different kinds of artwork, look up on Google or look through an art book or go to an art gallery, whatever it might be that will help your child to encourage thinking about different forms of artwork and the way that people express themselves, and through that they can look at something like an Australian Aboriginal artwork or the artwork of the Indigenous population of North America or whatever it might be. They can explore all these different forms of artwork, so that encourages children to think about diversity, think about different ways that people express themselves, different cultural expressions within artwork. So that's really important, and that helps children to really explore those areas. Outcome 3, children have a strong sense of well-being. Children become strong in their social and emotional well-being. Children take increasing responsibility for their own health and physical well-being. So you might be wondering, how on earth would art fit into this? Well, the first one, children become strong in their social and emotional well-being. They express their social and emotional ability and well-being through their artwork, through the process of making the artwork and being social and communicating with others, but also through what they're expressing, the experiences they're having, the emotions they're expressing in their artwork. And the second part is that they start to get an idea of how it feels to be covered in paint if they're doing some kind of finger painting, thinking about how clean they are, thinking about how clean their environment is, thinking about whether or not they need to go to the toilet before they start doing an artwork, are their hands clean, all of that sort of thing that will allow them to really start thinking about that comes with creating artwork. The next one is the big one. Children are confident and involved learners. Children develop dispositions for learning such as curiosity, cooperation, confidence, creativity, commitment, enthusiasm, persistence, imagination, and reflexivity. Children develop a range of skills and processes such as problem solving, inquiry, experimentation, hypothesizing, researching, and investigating. Children transfer and adapt what they have learnt from one context to another. Children resource their own learning through connecting with people, place, technologies, and natural and processed materials. I feel like a lot of that is reasonably self-explanatory as to how it relates to art and exploring artworks. Children get to explore their curiosity, their creativity, their imagination, their problem solving, their inquiry, their experimentation, all of those things through the process of creating artwork. They adapt what they've learnt from one context to another. They might start to think about different artworks and combining different processes of creating artwork. They might start to think about how they can relate a book that they've been reading to the artwork that they're creating, or an artwork that they've seen to the artwork they're creating. These connections start to happen as they explore and create and problem solve. Children resource their own learning. They are making the decisions about their artwork. They are resourcing their own learning because they are deciding what colours to use, what type of paint to use, whether they want to do printing or whether they want to do a construction or something like that. So they are resourcing, they are being involved with technologies and with each other. So that's really important and is something they definitely learn through art. The last one is children are effective communicators. This one might not be as clear, but listen to the subheadings and you'll start to see how. Children interact verbally and non-verbally with others for a range of purposes. Well, they have to communicate with each other to be able to share the materials. They have to communicate with each other to have an understanding of what each other is creating and building. Children engage with a range of texts and gain meaning from these texts. So that can be going back to looking at artworks and looking at each other's artwork. When we say text, we have a tendency to think of a book, but it doesn't have to be a book. It can be the artwork itself. That can be the text. Children express ideas and make meaning using a range of media. Watercolor, Play-Doh, oil paint, finger painting. The list is endless. Children begin to understand how symbols and pattern systems work. That's a big part of making art. Children use information and communication technologies to access information, investigate ideas, and represent their thinking. Like I said before, use Google to have a look at different artworks. So those are the 5 main outcomes that the Early Years Learning Framework is looking for. And as you can see, art crosses all of those outcomes. Children are learning through art continuously, developing, growing, learning. It is super important and helps children to grow immensely. Plus, it's super fun and engaging. You don't have to think very hard when it comes to making an art activity for your child. Some watercolors, piece of paper, away you go. Pretty easy, lots of fun. Children love it. Definitely recommend art as a way to have an engaging, interactive, fun time with your children that's also helping them to learn. I have one more thing I'd like to read out to you, and this is from a blog called, I can't actually feel bad because I can't actually pronounce what the name of this blog is, but I will put a link to it in the description below, so go and check it out if you would like to. And the quote is, "Art is a language that allows us to express and develop our ideas and emotions. Artistic activities are full of processes that help us to grow and stimulate our creativity while nurturing the soul. When children are exposed to any artistic activity, the brain is stimulated from sounds, movements, colours, and sizes. Neural connections increase and the brain is exercised and strengthened. The process is of greater benefit for children under 3 years, since their brain is maturing and is highly sensitive to external stimuli. Artistic activities foster intellectual development, and some of their benefits are: stimulates both sides of the brain, increases the capacity of memory, attention, and concentration, helps develop reading skills and children do better in maths and science, introduces children to new vocabulary and concepts, generates memories and images, which enriches the intellect. Children also improve and acquire social skills, promotes self-esteem, helps them express themselves. They learn to work together, especially when they are part of a band or other group. It gives them the opportunity to interact and cooperate with other children and adults. It also helps them work certain qualities of their personality. When practicing to improve, they learn to be persistent and consistent. So, there you go. Anyway, guys, that's just some thoughts from me today about why art and creativity is really important for growth and development within young children. If you have any thoughts on this subject, please comment below. I'd love to have a chat with you. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you found it interesting and valuable. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you later.